Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Chainlink, and we're going to be looking at its valuation against USD, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So I mentioned a few days ago that we would be looking at systematic Chainlink updates every 2 weeks, where we look at all the charts. However, we can sometimes provide intermediate videos if Chainlink starts to make some moves in the meantime. So we're not looking at any custom charts in this video. If you want to see those, I would encourage you to look at the last video on Chainlink. First, let's look at where it stands in terms of the bull market support band. Now, it might seem like Link has not been performing up to your expectations, but in fact, it has been more or less above the bull market support band since April of 2020. Now, think about that for a second. Since April of 2020, Link has been above its 20-week estimate or the 21-week EMA. It did drop below the 20-week estimate over here. We had a candle close below it, but we've only had wicks more or less go below this support band. So we're talking about approaching a year almost of Link being above the bull market support band, which is quite incredible. When it crossed the bull market support band, it was at a modest $2.73. Now it's trading at $28.98. So the bull market support band has in fact increased by an order of magnitude over the last 11 months or so. Right now, if you're curious where the bull market support range is, it currently ranges from $18.73 up to $20.38. So we're well above it right now. Now, another thing we can look at is we'll quickly look at the daily time frame and look at the 20-day moving average. I thought it was interesting because we've more or less been above the 20-day since January 2nd, holding it as support here, and basically throughout this entire region, more or less just riding the 20-day moving average up. So we actually just recently dumped below it, and we're currently sort of holding it as resistance. And that the current valuation of the 20-day moving average is $30.06. So, I would wait to see if that happens before getting too bullish on, say, any short-term price movements. If we break above $30 and start heading to 31, and we're decisively moving above the 20-day moving average, then hopefully, then I think there's a good possibility that we're systematically getting back on track. Until then, let's just be cautiously optimistic, because in fact we just went up to the 20-day moving average and actually got rejected down in the short term, similar to Bitcoin. Okay, very similar to what Bitcoin did with the 20-day moving average and got rejected. So if Bitcoin were to stabilize for a few days here, then I think there's a decent chance that Link will run. But we'll need to keep, we'll need to play it or go one step at a time on that. If you look at the Link Bitcoin valuation, we're still in a bear market. Obviously against USD, Link is in a bull market, but if you treat this bull market support indicator as the indicator for a bear market or a bull market, you can see that it's in fact been heading down. So while Link USD is in a bull market, Link Bitcoin has been in a bear market, and it's, despite the fact that we would want to say it's in a bull market, we can't really look at this chart and say that, down 65% since August is bullish, right? I mean, it depends on the asset you're comparing it to. So against Bitcoin, it still has been in a bearish trend. So we would be looking to decisively break above this bull market support band to say that, okay, maybe we're getting back into bullish territory. You can see that except for the occasional dip below, the Link Bitcoin valuation had spent most of its time above the 20-week estimate and 21-week EMA, and only recently has it spent a decent amount of time below it. We had a nice little pump a few weeks ago, and then we ultimately got rejected by this band. If you're curious, the bull market support band for the Link Bitcoin valuation currently ranges from 66,307 satoshis up to 66,955 satoshis, and currently we're at 59,000. So we would need to increase by approximately 12 to 13% to get back to that level, and then try to make a run at it and see if we can definitively get back above it. So that's currently not the case. If you look at the Link Ethereum valuation, it has also been trending down since August, and in fact at the current time it has trended down approximately at current time approximately 60% over 210 days to the bottom 74% over 154 days. Hopefully, though, we're seeing it sort of, it came down, it's sort of coiling up, and maybe it's going to meet this bull market support band here in a few days, and we'll see which way we pop, in a sense. Whether do we pop above it or do we keep getting rejected and sort of kick the can down the road? So the general summary is that Link USD has been in a bull market, against USD since last April. However, since August, it's been trending down against Bitcoin and down against Ethereum. And so we would, of course, like to see this change at some point in the not so distant future if we are to, get super excited about the short-term implications of the price movement of Chainlink. Now, one of the other things we've looked at is the Bitcoin, the Link Bitcoin exponential fit bands. Obviously, we have veered off track, and we have not been able to get back on track. And I would say that I don't think we will get back on track or have a chance of getting back on track until Bitcoin sort of calms down from this mania price discovery bubble, right? I mean, we don't know how high it will go, but at some point it will calm down, and then at that point, I think will likely be when Link can make a decisive move against Bitcoin. Until that time, I think it's more likely to be more or less of the same. Of course, we can sometimes get some pumps, but until Bitcoin decisively stops going into price discovery mode, then it's likely not going to be sustainable. So if for instance, Link were to pump back up to 80, 90,000 Satoshis, if then Bitcoin were to go back into price discovery mode and go to like 60 or 70K, then we would expect the Link Bitcoin valuation to bleed. So more or less my timeline on this is essentially maybe the summer. I think the summer could be the time for Link to make a decisive move. If you look at the last two, I mean, obviously 2 data points doesn't make a trend. The last peak, short-term peak for Link was August of 2020, so late summer. The one before that was July. The one before that was not in the summer, it was in January. But something to consider is if we look at, say, peak-to-peak moves, this one was, 200% over 500-something days. This was 300-something% over 400 days. So we're sort of seeing the time between these peaks shorten, and the percentage increase is actually going up. Obviously, you can't really extrapolate a 2 data point trend, but if we did and we went up, say, 400% from the prior peak over, say, 300 days, which would be shortening it in the same manner that it was being shortened, then we could be looking at around $100 Link by June. That would be quite a move. I don't necessarily think that will happen, but this would just be dubiously extrapolating the trend that it's already been on against USD. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. And also remember, we do have the premium list. You can find a link to the Altcoin season sale in the description below if you want access to the risk dashboard, the premium videos and newsletters, the Telegram alerts channel, and more, the TradingView indicators. So make sure you guys check that out in the description below if you're interested. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, turn on alerts. I'll see you next time. Bye.